All right, so for the test on Monday, October 17th, these are the things that you'll have to be aware of. There are 6 solving equation problems. And the solving equation problems could be of this type, 3x plus 2 equals 10. They could be variables on both sides, 3x plus 2 equals 6x minus 1. And regardless of what the problem is, you could have 3 possible answers. You could have just a problem that has one answer, something like x equals 10. You could get an identity, or you could get a problem that has no solution. But the thing to remember is you can't have any of the 2 of them together. It's either this one, or that one. Next on the test, there will be 2-story problems. And the 2-story problems are exactly the same ones that we've specifically been talking about and that I stated right from the beginning are the 2 that you have to know. One of them will be a rectangle perimeter problem, where you'll be given the perimeter of the rectangle and how the sides are related, and you'll have to find the length of both of the sides. And then the other type of problem will be the consecutive integer problem. And it will be a consecutive integer problem, not odd or even integers. So consecutive integers we would write down as if the first number is x, then the next 2 consecutive integers would be x plus 1 and x plus 2. And we would use those to solve. There will be 4 problems dealing with proportions. And just a reminder, a proportion simply means equal fractions. 3 of them will be fairly straightforward. In other words, 3 over 4 equals x over 12 or something of that nature. There will be one, however, where we have it a little more complicated. Perhaps 3 over 4 equals x minus 2 over 12. And in a situation where we have a fancy fraction, numerator or denominator, we're going to put that in parentheses before we cross multiply. So I know that 3 times 12 is 36, and I know the 4 times the x minus 2 would give us that. Distributive here, 4x minus 8 equals 36. Adding 8 to both sides, 4x is 44, and then dividing by 4, x is 11. There will be 2 percentage increase, decrease problems on the test. Remember, to find the percent increase or decrease, you take your end value minus the starting value, and you take that answer and divide it by your starting value, and then the answer written as a percent when we're done. Also make sure that you do tell whether it's an increase or a decrease. There will be 4 Pythagorean theorem problems on the test as well. All right. And the problems could be to find the missing hypotenuse, so solving for C. They may also require you to solve for either A or B, which is slightly different, but still uses the same formula. And last, but certainly not least, there will be 6 square root problems on the test. It may very well be that they want you to find the square root of a number or the 2 square roots of a number. Let's say they might give you, 16 over 25. And if they ask for both square roots, then you would have 2 answers, which you can solve by just putting the plus and minus sign out in front. And we know when there's fractions, I don't want decimal answers. So I take the square root of 16, which is 4, and the square root of 25, which is 5. So positive and negative 4/5. They're also going to ask you if the square root or what two integers a square root lies between. So if we have the square root of 75, we could say, okay, the square root of 75 lies between the square root of 64 and the square root of 81. And so I know that it lies between 8 and 9. Or we could just calculate the square root of 75. Anybody? Square root of 75 is... All right, so about 8.66. So it's not repeating, though, because you can't write that as a fraction. So 8.66. And we know that also lies between 8 and 9. And that is also another acceptable way to solve that.